Instead, how the heck are you? Yeah, long time no see, huh? Yeah, I hope you folks had a fantastic Thanksgiving and spent a lot of time with friends and family and really enjoyed yourselves. Okay. This little video is just going to be a simple one. Most of you that deal with livestock already know this, but I've had several questions pop up about it, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why do you rotate out your bulls. Okay. Same thing with goats and so forth. And we'll cover that in just a second. Be right back with you. First things, as far as inbreeding on cattle, same reason that humans quit inbreeding. It really messes with the genetics of the animals, the offsprings of that inbreeding, mother and father, sister, brother, kind of thing. Inbreeding with their siblings and with their children, their offsprings. And the saddest part of it is it doesn't always necessarily show up in that first set of offsprings. A lot of times it's 2 generations down the road that suddenly you'll start seeing stillbirths, a lot of deformities, weak genetics, sickly animals, so on, so on, so forth. And the dangerous part of that is if you've went that far down the road, you've probably pretty much destroyed the genetics of your herd. Okay. It's that simple. Because even if they breed with other cattle, they're going to pass that weakened gene strain along. So a good breeding program requires you to keep close track of the dams and the sires and who bred with who and when and how, and all the information you can gather on it. You got to monitor it closely. Now, does that mean every time you have a group of heifers that you're going to hang on to, you have to get rid of that bull? No, you don't. Raise those heifers up separately. Okay. Once they're weaned, get them out of that herd. Continue to allow your bull to breed with the cows he's been breeding with. But keep those heifers off so that you can get another bull, even if it's a rental, to get them bred. All right. But understand, when you separate them like that, now you're going to have 2 separate herds. Because at no point in time do you want those heifers, even once they become full-grown cattle, in with that daddy bull, because he will breed her. All right? And start that chain reaction off. A lot of times if you talk with local farmers in your area, they're facing the same scenario where they need to trade off a bull. Bulls are expensive. They're eating machines. They tear up fences a lot. Things of this nature. Okay? So you probably don't want to have a herd of them, okay? Unless you got a lot of cows. So most times after they decide to keep these heifers, before they get to breeding age, they will go ahead and replace that bull out with a fresh gene line. A lot of times you can do that with another farmer. He's in that scenario. He may have a registered Angus and you have a registered Angus. Instead of you guys trying to sell and rebuy and all that sort of stuff, you say, hey, why don't we swap? Okay. It's a win-win for both of you. Maybe a couple dollars might have to change hands. Who the heck knows? But it's a cheaper way to go. And I recommend the same thing with your goats. Be very selective, very careful of your breeding of your goats. Same problem exists. It does weaken the genetic line of your animals. Farther down the road, you start having stillbirths, deformities, sickly animals, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So, same reason for humans that you don't want to inbreed your cattle and goats and things of this nature. Inbreeding is not a good idea in any mammal. Try to keep that in mind. Okay? So, That's the easy answer. Just don't do it. But if you are planning on breeding any animals, you need to put a breeding program into place. Go find out, get as much information as you can on how do you track this? How do you watch this? I mean, cow cycle, you watch them, you pay attention to them, and as they grow up, you begin to see their cycle. You know when these girls are going to be wanting to breed. Make sure you have a bull available to them. Okay? Things of this nature. Note, document, and document, and document all of that information so that you can go back and make reference to it. You know who she was bred with, what date they were bred, so forth. Then you can project out, when am I going to have these calves on the ground? Okay. If you don't know anything about the breed, if you just throw them out there in the pasture and well, see what falls out, you're not really in control of your breeding program, because you don't know when these calves are going to be born, because you don't know when they were bred. You're not going to know when they're being weaned and things of this nature. If you have a good breeding program where you're in control of that, all right, you know approximately when those calves will be born, preferably as a group, so that they can be weaned as a group, all right, and things of this nature. So it's pretty simple. Don't let mommy and daddy breed with their offsprings. It's that simple. Same reason for humans. Just think human. Okay? Not a good idea. History has shown it to us. Okay? That's not a smart thing to do. Same thing with livestock. They're mammals. You can mess up their genes. And like I said, a lot of times too, I've had people who have purchased cattle at an auction, let's say, and had just terrible results with the breeding. A lot of stillbirths, a lot of deformities, sickly calves. Okay? Probably those cows were inbred. Know where you're buying your cattle. Okay? Nothing wrong with buying at an auction. Just find out in advance, get talking to the auctioneers, things of this nature. How's this guy's operation? You know, does he have a good reputation? So forth. And they'll usually be honest. They don't know him from Adam. They're going to tell you that. I don't know anything about his operation. Nothing. Okay. If he has been selling his cattle at auction for years, they're going to tell you that too. See what I'm saying? And they'll say, yeah, this guy's been selling cattle. We haven't had a bunch of complaints back from him, on him. Seems to be a good breeder. You can feel a little bit more confident about making bids on his livestock. But be cautious on where you're buying, when you're buying at auction. It's another one of those things that you can get yourself into. You go out and buy 100 head of heifer calves and throw them out there in the pasture. And this is a second or third generation of inbred cattle. You could bear the blunt of it. Suddenly you have a disastrous breeding season, and turn around and have another disastrous breeding season. 2 in a row should tell you one thing. You got an inbred herd and you just need to cull the whole group. Get them out of there. All right. Cut your losses. Get them out of there. Start again. All right. This time, go with somebody you know and somebody that you're going to trust, and buy good quality stock and commence with your breeding program. Another thing about breeding programs is you want to try to take, especially it's true in cattle, when you have a heifer out there that you're watching her, and this girl is just putting on weight, doing beautifully on grass, right? Just grass. You're not having to give her any supplements. You start watching her. Girl doesn't seem to come up with worms very often, all these things. That's one you want to make a key member of your breeding stock, okay? Because she's adapted to your land and to your farm, and she's going to generate calves, okay, that are adaptive also. You want to carry that mother's gene on forward to where they do great on just grass, and they do great as far as controlling their own pests, getting rid of worms, things of this nature. Fly control has a lot to do with that too, folks. So, and that you're really, that's in your control, deal with the flies. But, yeah, do it that way. Build your own genetic curve on your cattle. know where you're buying your beginning stock, and build on that. And that requires good record keeping. Good record keeping, okay? Can't stress it enough. But it also takes you being out there in that pasture, observing those cattle and say, this one does great. This is one I want to continue in the breeding program. This one over here, I've got a supplement feed to get weight on her just to get her ready to sell. And that's exactly what you want to do, okay? If you see one who's not performing well on your property, don't continue to play the game, okay? Get her on the market, get her sold. Okay, she's not going to be a good asset to your herd. You want a bunch of girls who do well on your farm, all right? Kind of keep that sort of stuff in mind. That's building a solid genetic herd for your property. And they're all different, okay? If all of them are doing poor on your grass, you better check your soil content and see what kind of minerals you got in your soil. Your grass could be deficient in nutrients. But as long as your grass is good and you have cattle out there that are doing great on just the grass, then you want to thin that herd out by looking at the ones who aren't doing well. Okay? It'll help you out in the long run. Anyway, don't want this to go too long. Like I said earlier, I hope you guys had just a fantastic Thanksgiving. And looking forward to the Christmas season and spend some time with your family. You know, make it a key thing in your life. Bonding with your family. It is not about the presents. Okay. And I know there's a lot of us that don't necessarily celebrate Christmas because we don't believe in that. And to you, God love you, and but you still spend time with your family. All right. Folks, you have a great day, and I will be talking to you real soon. Talk to you later.